You get what I mean now, right? We have people who are defrauding people. Come and travel, come and travel. And a lot of that. And all of us still gather together to say, these people are evil. These politicians are our enemies. And stuffs like that. So I want to say this to you, that whether you know somebody who is doing human trafficking, Europe by road, and all of that, where younger people, take a look at this video.
Oh, another. You might want to. Oh, everybody for water. Oh.
That is Mediterranean Sea. After maybe now Morocco, I've been now Algeria. So the boat they were traveling in capsized. And when boat capsized, it's just going to have to be like you and your leader. Baba, have you been into a 40-story building before? I know some of you watching from America, you have all of that in your place. So, you know, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Now imagine that water, an ocean like that, Mediterranean Sea, is deep for like about 40-story, 30-story building. Forget about your leg touching anything, bagbe. You see divers, they count minutes. Sometimes they will say it will take them 30 minutes to dive from the bottom to up. Like, if you dey walk out 30 minutes for road, do you know how far that is? And you find yourself, you say you want to swim. There is no land here, no land anywhere. But luckily for these ones, they were not at the IC. They were already in places where they call the buffer or something, safety zone on sea, which is areas that are not really far from land. And they've been offered the life jacket as well. That's why one of them could record that for his own keep. I said, if you are from Nigeria and you are ready to go to do anything just to get out of Nigeria, including having to go through the deserts, go through the Mediterranean, and then end up being locked up in immigration detention center, become illegal in that place, which then will be like, they'll return you back to where you are coming from. Or, like others will tell you, if you know your way, they go do this, they go do that for you. I'm just saying that instead of having to risk that and die, why not just join the people that want to demand for something better from the people chasing you away? I'm just saying. Now, I'm not talking to those of you who are here, who can afford data and spend 3 hours with me on Mayegun's Diary Politico. I'm talking to those who are going to stumble on this video or this part, or those of them who have their family members who are looking for. Why do you have to just go and waste that life now? Because you know something. You may actually be part of something that will liberate you enough, force the hands of the criminals to drop everything they have taken from you. You won't even have to go to Europe by road. And you won't even want to go to Europe to live there just because you are running away from a place destroyed by these criminals. I'm just saying. I'm not discouraging you because say me, I know the advice. I know my own is that when I put out something, whatever you do with it is completely yours. Imagine me, Mayegu, inside the Mediterranean. God, please help me. God, save me. God, if you save me, I will not do this again, or something like that, like panicking because I could die anytime. A big fish could just kind of for lunch. Depends on the season. Like, why don't I just go face people where they say they are humans like me and we die here? Because there are so many people in that category. But because pastor don't tell them, say, their future day Europe, but there's no chance of going to that Europe. Their future day America. They don't scam them on American visa, UK visa, Euro visa, this visa, that visa. Waiting. last, God just do miracle. Our boy just came back from Lagos, and he just brought this offer. Spain by road, 500,000. I go. I'm just talking to you, bruv. You are likely going to die. I know it's easier to say, I don't care. I don't care. I want to leave this place. Don't you think if you don't really care that you die? It's ideal to die in that place, Abi. Abi, you won't go die for ocean. When you say they no go get any burial for you, they no go get any tomb, anything. Your family, at some point, you go remain in their memory, and it's just going to be for some time. After that, now once in a while, you go to come to their memory. They will just imagine what's happened to you. Please don't take my advice, okay? But as for those in charge of Nigeria, listen to this man and understand that they don't care, sure, but are they going to get away with it? Maybe.
Committed to democracy. They've been committed to the acquisition of power and the use of power for self-aggrandizement, but not governance. Governance is about providing for the people. It's about addressing the problems that affect the people. It's about improving lives, livelihoods, and people's welfare. And these are what we have not had. And the tragedy of Nigeria is when you count back from 1999, each regime that comes into power, each government that comes into power is worse than the previous one. Obasanjo, that we criticize so heavily, is now standing upright as the most competent and committed government we have had. The person who succeeded him, unfortunately, didn't have the health to do much. Then Jonathan came out, and he turned out to be much worse. And we were saying with Jonathan, this is the first university graduate that's ruling this country. We will see evidence of that education in the governance. It turned out to be all about corruption. Jonathan left, then Buhari came out, definitely worse than Jonathan. And now, Nigerians are in their hundreds of thousands in the streets saying that the current Tinubu administration is the worst we have seen when you take your index as misery and suffering of the people. How can we sustain a country when each government that comes in is worse than all the previous ones?
That's why I actually asked the question as to whether indeed, is it about the leadership? Is it that we've just not been able to vote for the right leaders? Or is the problem really with us as a people? And it's reflected in government. But maybe you'll respond to that after Sulai asked his question. Sulai, you were going to ask. Go ahead.
Well, Nigeria has actually gone through a lot. Banditry, Boko Haram, insecurity, and the corruption you spoke about, the government of Goodluck Jonathan. Perhaps, what are those key factors, if you would, perhaps critical three, that you think that the Tinubu administration should start looking into at the moment that will also, as they fix, give more voice to the people in a democracy?
What we've done in our memo is to give an integrated argument, to say that Nigeria is in deep misery and suffering because insecurity is too high and the economy is not working for the people. Now, why do we have these two problems? Because the level of corruption in government has continued to rise each year. And because corruption is rising, there's no way you can guarantee security for two reasons. One is you can't do procurements that enable the government to do its work because the resources are filtered away. The second thing is that Nigerian citizens are also watching. The picture they see of those in government are people who are stealing the wealth of the nation. And then they ask themselves one question: how come they are able to steal the wealth of the country and we can't? Oh, they have security with guns, we don't. So what have Nigerians been doing? They have been procuring guns. And they have been using these guns against their neighbors, against people they don't know, against the state, against security, against everybody. So it's the demonstration effect. When the leadership does not live up to the expectation of the people, people learn lessons. And lessons can be positive, lessons can be negative. Because the corruption is so high, Nigerians are also learning very terrible lessons of what they will do, which is the ideology of self-help. So our key argument is this. Everybody knows that the center of corruption is in government. And what the leader of government needs to do is to seriously sanction those among his team that have been shown in public to be corrupt. We have had ministers in this particular government where massive allegations have been released against them, and it's now a year and nothing has happened. This is a signal that this government is not ready to punish those among them who are corrupt. And that's a powerful message. Once the president doesn't come out openly, clearly, without ambiguity, and shows his own team that it's not business as usual, and accountability will count in this government, you mess up with public resources, you go to jail. Right. That's the signal all Nigerians have been waiting for, and that's the signal we are not seeing.
Rather unfortunately, I mean, especially when
you get that? It's not hard. I mean, come on. Though we do know why they won't do it. Even if they hire people to go and lie to you, Babashi, you must lie to yourself, ni. They are working. They cannot do it in 1 year. Nobody can. People where they buy themselves private jets with your money, presidential yacht. Those who are returning away your money, you're watching them do that. And then you are telling yourself that even though you haven't seen anything, but you just believe, shall say, they must be doing something. We should be patient. We just need to be patient. You're lying to yourself. I mean, it's all right. But what we don't appreciate is for you to lie to other people. I mean, you may lie to yourself if you are somebody who just live a life of a lie. That's you. It's on you. But when you begin to believe your lie to be truth, well, that's complicated. But that's still you. When you are so mad that this same BS, that your life of denial, that you turn truth because you need to live that lie. And those who are like, no, we know they buy. You become upset. You become obsessed. And then you become mad because you won't buy the lie. Then come the name calling, personal attacks, and the rest of that. Come on. You can't be too dumb. No one should be too dumb, okay, to believe that Tinubu and gang are doing something they haven't told you, but you imagined it. The ones they are showing you, you are denying it. 90 billion for Hajj, 16 billion for travel, 20 billion 45 billion for the First Lady, 47 billion for the Ribadu NSA, 10 billion to buy computers for Bajabia Mole. All these billions, you are seeing them. None of them is going to add anything to your lives, but you will pay for them because they are loans. So, what are they doing that convinced you that we are telling you that they are doing nothing simply because we don't like them, but you know they are doing something that we don't know? Therefore, you are giving them time. What? So that's the problem, isn't it? Here is the other part of that chart.
When you put it that way. Now, you narrowed it down to the issues of incompetence and a lack of empathy on the part of, the nation's leadership. Expatiate on that and how it's fundamental to Nigeria's problems.
You see, the question of competence is very basic in good governance because you need to be able to search for teams, for people who can deliver on the mission you give to them. And the proof of this is when you look at the first tenure of Tinubu as governor of Lagos State and his second tenure as governor of Lagos State. All analysts are agreed that he was very successful in choosing people with proven competence, and precisely because of that, there was a marked increased capacity of the government of Lagos to deliver services to the people. This time round, it is also very clear to all analysts that the calculation in government is that we want a political team that will guarantee we remain in office for a second term. And that competence was definitely not at the center of consideration in the choice of the key players in the current government. And we are now suffering because of that choice, that political decision that has been made. So the question of competence is very clear, but I think the whole question of government is that our constitution is clear. The purpose of government is to provide for the security and welfare of citizens. These are the two things all Nigerian citizens are saying. We are not seeing it. We are not seeing improved security, and we are not seeing improved welfare. Therefore, the verdict is failure. And if you are failing in your key mission, it means there is a critical tipping point that's approaching. And that's why we talk of Nigeria being at the crossroads.
So what does this president need to do? Sorry, Salai.
No, that's fine.
What does this president need to do now to salvage the situation and to bring back the trust of the people back in not just this administration, but maybe going forward? What are the fundamentals that need to be?
I think the first thing that needs to happen is to show a clear commitment to combating corruption within the team itself. Once the president will have the boldness and the insight to do that, people will begin to relax and feel the perspective, the future would be bright because steps are being taken. And if the level of anger and frustration is so high now, is because people are not seeing any steps being taken. Take this example of promises almost on a daily basis about provisions and palliatives made for the poor. Yeah. We live in this society. There's none of us who doesn't know poor people. And you do your survey around those you know. No poor person has ever benefited from any of these things governments talk about. So it is not impressive for government to be saying, we are doing this for the poor, when the poor never ever see what is being claimed.
Do you have a recipe to arrest in that? Because now he has just rejigged the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, and Nigeria has a very big youth population, and they've been talking. Now that you have been able to put your finger on some of the key concerns, which is implementation. What do you think the Tinubu administration should start looking at?
I think the point has to be made very clearly. The government is not unaware of what's happening to the failure of its programs. This food items, cereals and rice that are being offered, the monetary contributions being made for the poor, we all know exactly what has happened to them. When food is being supplied, it's given to state governors, who give it to their local government chairman, who then pass it through the ward chairman of the ruling party in the state. So you know you are handing over this directly to politically powerful individuals who believe that that is their reward for their party being in power. So there isn't even an attempt to say, we have a register of the poor in this country. The register exists, but that register has never been used for allocation. And government can do it because it has the register. We spent 10 years in this country doing a detailed register of the poor. They know who they are, and they know where they are, and they have their telephone numbers. But they never even make the effort to reach them. And I'm saying the onus of proof is on government now, and every Nigerian is looking at them. If the poor don't start to see a change, don't start seeing benefits, then these people are saying, well, we draw a line with government, it's the end of public trust, and now it's everybody for themselves. And when it comes to that stage, then I think it will be a crisis where we move beyond the tipping point.
We hope things don't get to
Absolutely.
that point.
That's why we're having this conversation, and we'd like to thank you for your time, Professor Jibrin Ibrahim.
Thank you. I hope you kind of grasp the point he made there, right? But let me elaborate a little bit. Tinubu and gang did not come to help you. And that is why majority of those around Tinubu, starting with those who believe that Tinubu assembled the best brains that took charge of Lagos. You see, this is how propaganda works. Tinubu, he did excellently well in Lagos. Where is the standard? Lagos is the slum capital of the world. Yeah, for a city like it. Is so populated that there was no real plan. They do not have any real sewage system to start with. Whatever takes in all the waste out of the city and take it somewhere. It is one of the most filthiest place you can go to in the world. Yeah, I'm serious. There's a stench that you kind of feel. And I'm not bad mouthing. You see, this is what propaganda did to people. It is a city that has no electricity. In 2024, I hope if you see anywhere among them that say, we have 10 hours electricity a day, those areas are called poch areas. Areas where they enjoy 5 hours, 10 hours a day. That's if they ever have, A city after 25 years of democracy that has no pipe-borne drinking water. None. A city where they are making nearly ₦1 trillion in revenue a year, but 80% of their roads are I don't even know how to describe it. It's a place that one single group of people have actually allocated to themselves. In 25 years, they are the owners of Lagos, not the Lagosians. The story long. So there was no direct benefit to anybody. They said they put together all these, smart people. Pastor Ruga was Tinubu's Attorney General in Lagos. Guess what Pastor Ruga did in those 8 years? And that is why many of the properties that you ever trace to Tinubu and his associates, it will take like 100 years of litigation to get them back. Because most of those things that Tinubu stole from Lagos, Pastor Ruga ensured that they drafted bill that legitimized all of them. You can't collect them from him. No. But we will collect them. Pastor Ruga, who later became your vice president. Dele Alakori was in charge of misinformation. It was their, what do you call it then? It was their liar-mo of that era. Then Opeyemi Bamidele. Then what's that his name again? Amzat. Obafemi Amzat. These were just ball boys. Okay.